would like, if I may, to take you on a strange journey.
Welcome to 9sense. 9sense is a satanic perspective of our modern world, and I'm your host, Adam Campbell. Today I'm being joined by the one and only Aden Arden. How are you, man?
I'm doing pretty well, buddy. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. It seems it's been a long time since we've chatted.
That it has, but you know, a day away from you is like a year, Adam.
Right, yeah. No, it must have been hell if that's the case.
I know. Every day is just... This is why I'm not aging well, because I'm stressed out and panting nice. and wait over your voice.
31 days. Well, it is fantastic to have you, and it's great to have you listeners tuning in to yet another week, another 9sense. It is November 22nd, and we have a wonderful show for you this week. We're going to start off with the Devil's Advocate, and we're talking eugenics. That's right, the essay by Magister Peter H. Gilmore from The Satanic Scriptures. We're going to do a little militant eroticism, of course. Aden is here with us. Episode 20. What do you call this one?
If you loved me, I'd come.
Wow. Damn.
This one, I was supposed to do nudism this month, but I still have a bunch of shit that I have to sift through. And then I found this essay. I'm like, I remember I wrote this after a big fight with my ex-boyfriend. And you know what? I'm actually in a really pissy mood today. I can't wait to yell at everybody. Right. This is a very angry topic, people. Angry.
All right.
There you go.
Well, I'm looking forward to that. That sounds like it's going to be very interesting. Very interesting. We're going to close out the episode with another Satanism today. This is episode 5, which Heather Height is going to be interviewed by Magister Harris. So this should be a really, really good episode. And that's why we don't have another something different, because she's obviously going to be talking all about herself in this Satanism today. So that's going to be the entirety of the show. Let's start off with a little bit of banter here. Thanksgiving's coming up. Do you do anything special on Thanksgiving?
Last year there was a TV crew at the barracks, and so it was just, a bunch of friends and TV people, and this year I'm going to Marilyn Mansfield's house. So,
oh, cool.
Yeah, for like a Friendsgiving type of thing.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun. She's an amazing cook.
Yeah.
What about you?
I follow her on social media, so I've seen like some of the food pictures that she posts and stuff, and it looks really nice.
Oh yeah, that's why I have her cater my parties. I'm like, Marilyn, I love you. Cook. Here, money.
Please make me food.
Right? You don't want me cooking. My God. Yeah. Everything will be pasta or eggs and home fries.
Did you ever? Was this a big family tradition growing up? Thanksgiving?
Yeah, kind of. My parents really didn't have too many traditions. My dad spent a lot of time on the streets when he was growing up, and my mother, Muslim and all that, Thanksgiving wasn't a big thing. So for our family, it's my mother cooked all the sides. My dad did the ham. Like, she was not allowed to touch the ham or the turkey, because we usually had both in case family came over.
Yeah.
So we're like, hide the ham. So, which has happened before. I had to hide the ham under my bed because Muslim relatives came over and surprised the fuck out of us. So I'm running around the house with a ham. My mom's running around fucking Febreze. So anyway, and then my mother, myself, and my little brother, we would go to a movie while my dad prepped all the meat, and by the time we came back, it was just a few small things. We'd sit down, go around the table, tell everybody what we're grateful for. That was it. So it was nice. And then we'd watch, silly movies and annoy my mother.
Do you have any movies that are sort of traditions for this time of year?
No, it was usually something, cute, and I wanted to see something interesting, but, I'm the odd man out. So So one year we saw Old Dogs with John Travolta and Robin Williams, which was actually really funny.
I don't think I've even heard of that.
Right? It was a small, little, cute family comedy, but we usually see things like that. Something something that's cute and funny, and that won't make my mother freak out. So,
yeah. Now, for us, it is we have a staple tradition of inviting about 12 or 13 different friends, and about 2 of them show up like, all the time. Even after, like, I have the flakiest fucking friends. Even after they've agreed to come, we've worked out side dishes that they're going to be bringing. They'll call, like, at 2 o'clock on fucking Thanksgiving. Like, oh, sorry, we can't make it.
And you haven't killed them yet?
It's unbelievable. I tend not to murder my friends, but I might have to start picking the habit up because... No, it's just frustrating. Just, you don't want to come, just don't come. Don't agree to come. Don't say you're going to bring a specific side or dessert or something like that. Just say, we have other plans, or we're going to kick it at home, or fuck off, or whatever you want to say. Just be honest about it and say it. But don't tell me you're going to come and then you don't come. I mean, fuck.
That would drive me absolutely nuts. It's if I'm setting aside time and planning my day in order to consider you, and you just blow me off last minute. Well, fuck you. Fuck you, buddy. Got a hammer. So.
These are the people I fucking know in life. It sucks. No, but so the tradition is I wake up, I turn on Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, and I try to get the kids to come watch it with me while my wife is like sort of prepping all the foodstuffs that's going to be cooked. And then I dip into a little eggnog and Southern Comfort, or eggnog and whiskey, or eggnog and rum, and just sort of become completely worthless for the rest of the day while she's busting her ass and not complaining at all and just being an amazing person. And by the time it's time to eat, I am like just completely just wild-eyed and lubricated with alcohol and just ready to say just random stupid things constantly. So it's nice if you have people over to sort of, offset that weirdness that I become when I get crazy drunk. But when it's just me and the family, it's just not that great. Not that good.
I would pay good money to see you lazy and lubricated.
Oh man, yeah, no, it's.
That was too easy. I had to do it.
I'm gonna start taking pictures and I'll send them over to you this year.
Okay, fine. Join the club. I got a nice little folder on my computer with a bunch of people.
Interesting.
You're not recording, are you?
I am, in fact.
Oh,
we won't drop any names, but. I have an idea of some.
What?
Mm-hmm.
So wait, you watched the Macy's Day Parade?
Yeah.
Now, I never understood that. Why do people watch? Not only did I hate going to parades when I was a kid, I'm like, Daddy, get me out of here. Your shoulders aren't comfortable. There's too many people. It's loud. There's a bunch of fucking people blocking traffic. Why is this a good idea? Now, watching parades on television seems like even a more worse idea, because you're not even there to take in the experience. You're like lazy fucking spectators. Like, oh, look how cool it is. Look how cool everything is. And I don't have to be there while everybody's freezing their fucking ass off.
So my disdain for being around tons and tons of people is part of the reason why I don't usually go to any parades, but also the fact that I'm in Utah, not New York, that has a lot to do with it as well. But I don't know. And I gotta be honest, I don't really even like watch it. I just have it on as a sort of background noise, because it usually ends up with me going, hey kids, the parade's on, let's watch this. And then we just start like talking or messing around or going and bugging Shauna in the kitchen or tasting little bits that she's, preparing. And like, it's sort of background noise. That's just seasonal background noise for us. I haven't really ever thought about why I watch it, to be quite honest, until you brought that up. I don't know.
What? We usually have The Simpsons going on in the background, because me and my dad are huge Simpsons fanatics.
Oh, right.
Huge, right?
Yeah.
And that just drives my mother nuts, because me and my father have the same kind of humor. So, yeah, it's really bad now that I'm an adult and she can't ground me because I live 700 miles away. So,
no, that's cool. I love it best when it is with friends, though. Like when you don't have to worry about tiptoeing around subjects because of your family or whatever. You can just sort of just be you and enjoy the day with friends. So.
Oh yeah, this This is great. This is the second time I've gone to Maryland's for Thanksgiving. The first time was when I just moved here and just met Marilyn. And usually it was, Darren would be back in Chicago, and I go back to Detroit for Christmas, so I don't go for Thanksgiving. But it would be me and my neighbors kind of having like an orphan giving type of thing. And since I've never cooked a fucking turkey in my life, it was always my old neighbor who lived across the hall, and we would put on really ridiculous disco music and dance around while I would make the sides and he would make turkey. And then everybody would come over after me and him were done doing all the dirty work. And we'd be sloshed by that point. Like it was over. Yeah.
Damn. Yeah.
Oh yeah. If you're not getting drunk while cooking, you're not doing it right.
Here, here. No, I totally agree. And then there's the food. Oh, the food is so great. Just all the greatest home cooking ever. Right?
Oh my God. It's like the only time to be bloated and proud at the same time.
Yeah, such a great holiday. Well, I'm looking forward to that in just a couple days now. Plus, it gives me like a nice 4-day weekend. So can't argue with that. That's always fucking beautiful. In nomine de nostris Satanis Luciferi Excelsior. In the name of Satan, the ruler of the earth, the king. Though I am an active member, I do not speak for the Church of Satan.
Eugenics. The very word raises the hackles of the egalitarians as it exposes fundamental fallacies that underline their doctrines. Mankind is the only animal species which acts to circumvent the natural law of the survival of the strong and the weeding out of the weak. Acknowledging the non-equal, stratified status of humans, we Satanists see as one of our long-term societal goals the promotion of a higher percentage of creative and productive individuals, and a decrease in the numbers of simple believers and consumers, as well as the downright stupid. This could be advanced through the forbidden knowledge of eugenics. Simply put, it is a term applied to the scientific theories concerning the biological improvement of the human animal through deliberate control of hereditary factors. The idea was pioneered by Sir Francis Galton. He thought that we could promote a progressive evolution in our species through increasing the proportion in our population of intelligent, healthy, and emotionally stable individuals via the strict control of human reproduction. We have used such techniques in agriculture and animal husbandry. Why not voluntarily apply such to ourselves?
This is a really interesting topic that I was a little bit surprised it was addressed this way, because it does have such negative connotations, post-World War II world. There's this idea of using eugenics to weed out perceived weaknesses and even ethnicities, and sort of let this greater race rise on top. But then there's the positive side that Magister Gilmore speaks to as well, that's sort of removing birth defects and stuff like that. And it's honestly, it does seem like a natural progression of human evolution. I mean, we've muddled with other species evolution through these types of activities. Why not just go about it and apply it to ourselves? And we sort of do individually. Like, you choose your own partner. So if you choose that you don't want to have kids, well, then you're taking your genes out of the pool, and we're sort of allowing the residual pool to build up, forsaking whatever you have for good or bad. What do you think about this? I mean, what's your take on eugenics in general?
Well, I think in the past, it was usually done for silly reasons, even before Hitler and his Aryan army thing. But let's breed the aristocracy because the aristocracy has a higher IQ, which we just know that's not the way intelligence works. Mm-hmm. And but now we have better systems to do this. We understand human DNA, and we can the science behind designer babies is blossoming. And I'm a transhumanist, so I'm a huge fan of this. Mm-hmm. I hope to live long enough to see the end of Homo sapiens and the rise of the post-human, where you can take out the birth defects and you can play with biology. We're at a point, I think our species is at a point where we don't have to be bound by mindless natural selection anymore. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a mistake when people talk about eugenics is, well, what about, natural evolution? Well, honey, nature doesn't have a plan, and nature is not a conscious being. So when people say nature knows best, it's kind of like a misleading statement. Nature experiments a lot, and it just so happens it gets things right. But it also gets a lot of things wrong. So
mostly it gets things wrong. I mean,
and it's just like the scientific method. You don't go by your successes. You're led by your failures. And nature operates the same way. Luckily, human beings are not nature, and we can control things in a very quick and in more intelligent fashion, as long as we leave morality and our biases out of it. So I love the idea of eugenics. I would love to know that, you could build, well, actually, no, that the better way to put it would be that one of the cures of HIV is they're trying to, there's a natural mutation in a percentage of the population that make them immune to catching HIV. And it also makes them immune to catching the bubonic plague. Or people with sickle cell anemia, they're immune from, what's that mosquito disease? God damn it. Anyway, so there's usually a trade-off, but we can breed these genetic immunities into us now, and we can become kind of like the Olympians, So the Olympian gods. So I think that's, for me personally, that would be the goal of eugenics, is to become like the Olympians. But I'm a huge fan. Bravo.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense if we can, mess with immunities or resistances to existing viruses or defects. I mean, it just seems like a no duh. Like, why wouldn't you want your offspring or the future humanity's offspring to have the best possible chance of survival after you? That just seems like it doesn't make any sense not to do it, especially if we have the ability to. And like, I don't want to really discuss the an opposing side's view of this, because I don't really think we need to. We all are pretty familiar with those ideas. But as a Satanist, can we discuss maybe a little bit of, I don't know if it was tongue-in-cheek or not, but Anton LaVey did mention once that there was a potential chromosomal difference between Satanists and non-Satanists. Do you think that you could breed, use genetics in order to create Satanists as offspring? Because right now, it's pretty much, you don't know if your kid's going to be a Satanist. Do you think that there is some sort of genetic trait that would predispose you to the ideas or the frame of a Satanist?
Well, this is funny. Magister Harris was asked something similar in that Inside the Church of Satan documentary. Would you want the world to be full of Satanists? And I agree with him. No, I would not. So it's kind of like, would you want the whole population to be gay and only to meet together for the purposes of breeding? No, that's throwing things way too out of balance. Mm-hmm. I don't really hate to say it. Until we have androids that are completely subservient, we need the people who are going to be janitors. We just need them. So we need someone to stand on. Let's face it. So, but LaVey kind of implied that there could be a genetic difference between us and everybody else. But I look at it more. I look at individual personalities more as a combination of nature and nurture. You have genetic predispositions, and then you have environmental influences. And it seems any Satanist I met has a few things in common. Somewhat of a disregard for authority, childlike when it comes to their imagination, and devotion to independence. I mean, like, they worship that notion, myself included. We worship the very idea of independence. We do what we want because we want to do it. And we don't need too many other reasons besides that. So what genes contribute to that would probably be the same genes that contribute to risk-taking behavior. People who drink too much, people who do drugs too much, people who are too promiscuous, they all go hand in hand. The difference would be reason. But just because you have a high IQ, which has a genetic predisposition, doesn't mean you're going to be a very reasonable person. Sociopaths are also highly intelligent. They're also not very reasonable. So,
no, it's very true. It's interesting because, as a parent, I never... of course, my wife's not a Satanist, and so being the only Satanist in the relationship, I never really went into it thinking I'm going to have Satanist children. Like, it was that literally never, and even today, I don't care. Like, it's not important to me whether or not they identify the same way as me. I prefer them to be themselves, and so genetically modifying someone as an egg or a zygote, or however, at whatever stage you're doing it, I would never do that expecting them to come out a Satanist, because that would take what I champion in creation, the randomness, the chaos out of it. I love that I don't know what my kids are going to be like. I of course, going back to what I said earlier, I love to give them the best possible chance of survival, meaning correct problems before they occur. If their predisposition for cancer or heart disease or something like that. But other than that, I do not foresee like a Gattaca future where we're completely customizing our children. I'm not averse to it, but personally, I prefer the chaos approach to it.
So you're in favor of the love babies. I love Gattaca.
But in almost every dystopian future, it is like controlling of population growth and the children that are born. Like, you always have these sort of structured ideas. So as human beings, it's part of our DNA to envision these future outcomes. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if it does happen, or if it has happened, or if people are currently really just, as I'm sure if North Korea could do it, they would definitely be doing it. If they had the technology.
I think the theme, because I think Gattaca is a wonderful little frame for this conversation. I think the theme of that movie was that the difference between the man who was given everything and then had everything taken away because of an accident, versus the man who was a love baby and then, went out to space in a fucking 3-piece $4,000 suit, because for some reason everybody has a $4,000 suit in that movie, is that controlling genetics can only give you a head start. I mean, look, the guy who went to space versus his brother who only became a detective. It's the environmental influences. The love child refused to accept that he was bound by his biology, and I think that's a part of what people would refer to as the human spirit. That man versus man type of thing. Like, no, I'm going to do something, and unless something kills me, I am going to fucking do it. And you can't breed that with genetics as far as we know. If it was strictly all genetics, psychology and sociology would be stupid. They wouldn't even be science. They wouldn't even be worth discussing. Behavior, influence are real things. If they weren't, advertisements wouldn't work so fucking well, and neither would religion. Someone can be predisposed to believe things like in God or Christ, or name them. Or Zeus, or anybody else. You can be predisposed to that line of thinking, but these people may be atheists and very persuaded by totalitarian governments. So it really doesn't. You can't breed a Christian no more than you can breed a Satanist. You can breed someone who has a higher IQ, or has the potential to take advantage of a higher IQ, but they could also be a crime lord, or they could be a lawyer.
Yeah.
Free will is a real thing, but not complete free will. Free will operates in a box that we're all born with, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, half the species anyway. So I think it's really interesting because you just brought up this really great idea that spurred some other stuff in my head here. And I want to explore this a little bit further. I think part of the reason we find happiness in life is because of diversities we must overcome. And those may be genetic, they may be cultural, they may just be the society as a whole, regionally where you were born. But whatever those obstacles are, the reason those of us who are great is because of overcoming those obstacles. In spite of our deficiencies, we are strong. And maybe even because of them, we're strong. Because we've had to force. If you're given everything, I mean, just look at any millionaire's children or child actors who work really hard the first part of their youth and then just devolve into a mess of just drug-fueled nonsense in their teens and later life. Like, they were given and they didn't have to struggle after that. It's
pride and boredom.
Yeah, it's the struggle in life that makes us great. And, you know, you were mentioning that eugenics will start you on the right foot. But after that, you know, there's a lot of other factors that go into play. I mean, starting yourself on the right foot may also end in a not very fulfilling life because you don't have that struggle that makes life worth it, for me anyway.
Right. Some of my friends, some were born, you know, very wealthy, and others attained wealth through circumstance and good decision making when they were young. And sometimes I get so pissed at them because I was raised dirt ass poor. And so when they see the way when they bitch about A, B, and C, I'll throw a fucking fit. Like, I'll yell and I'll scream. Because I'm like, you seem to think you have real problems. And you know why you think you have real problems? Because you never had to work for anything. Like, no, I had to work for what I have. Yes, honey, you had to study for what you had. There's a big difference. All right? You know, I had to watch my parents work 4 jobs and me sit at home with a woman who couldn't speak English. So there's a big difference here. Okay. I moved to New York with $500 in my pocket. You moved here with like $30,000 in your bank account. So right. So let's not have this. But it's that sense of pride of overcoming something. I'm sorry, pride derived from overcoming something. And when everything's handed to you, it's what's there to be proud of? And you're bored on top of it. Bored. There isn't anything you can't do. It's like one of my friends was born wealthy, is wealthy, and he has a job, but he tries so hard to fit in. Like, I never knew he was rich until it slipped when we were too drunk one night. I looked at him like, you're what? I thought you were just a young professional. No, he's filthy fucking rich. And then I got really angry because I'm like, why do you work? My God, if I had your opportunity, you know what I would do is I would develop my interests and hide the fact that I was rich. And let's say I was interested in painting and try to enter galleries or something like that. So I could develop real esteem and real pride and not use daddy's name to get somewhere.
Right.
So you can combine that with genetics. See what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a really interesting topic that spirals into a lot of different aspects of what it means to be a human and what you can and cannot change about who and what you are based on your genetic makeup. I highly recommend, Magister Gilmore does a really wonderful job in this, discussing his third side perspective on the topic, and he gives some really wonderful examples, and it really develops the essay in a really wonderful way. It's in the Satanic Scriptures, which is a collection that defines Satanism. It's the Satanic Bible and the Satanic Scriptures that are the two, in my opinion, sole books that you need to fully comprehend this idea of Satanism. So do yourselves a favor, read this essay for yourselves, think about it, and explore opportunities that are available to you. Do a little genetic testing of your own. I don't know.
Actually, that's actually really, my parents had that done before, when they found out they were pregnant with me, because my mother has lupus, and in the 80s, they didn't really know how lupus was passed, so I got tested for it. But genetic testing is a fantastic idea if you're fortunate enough to have the ability to plan a pregnancy. You really should, because then it will tell you, okay, what are the chances of me giving birth to a child who won't live past the age of 5, or will have a debilitating illness the rest of their life? Yeah, probably better to not have that kid for their sake, and as well as your bank accounts.
Emotional and practical. It makes perfect sense. Check it out, people.
Truth, but yeah.
Let's do a little Militant Eroticism.
Sure.
Hello? Oh, is it on? It's on. Alright. Hi. My name is Pat. And I used to be a smoker. I never realized the harmful effects of smoking until I lost one lung. So now I only have one lung. I spent all of my money on cigarettes. But now, I found something even better. There's this place called Satanist, and they sell citalopavimets and LEDs. And I like to use the LEDs. I like to light them up in my room, because I don't like the dark. I get scared, and it makes me breathe. And I can't breathe for that long, because I only have one lung. Anyway, they got a lot of stuff. I suggest, hold on. Sorry, I had to take a few breaths. Anyway, I suggest that you go down to Satanist and check out, and check out all the things that they have. That's right, I did say Satanist. Alright, I'm going now. Bye.
Lusters, the top-hated and the low-browed. With a scarlet passion and valid gospel, I say to you, thou in sick style of remoted altars, be not of love, but of lust, and to one a belly full is a belly full. Expand your genital rebellion to vindicate the shrew. Let thy brothel be revelation, then thy moans are divine wisdom. There's no salvation in the whore's religion. Our dogma is their kink. With legs spread, with flesh mounted, we point out to our accusers, a slut alone is no slut at all. This I say to you, my fellow eroticists, my hands-on warriors. It doesn't matter who bends over. In the end, we are all degraded.
Welcome to Militant Eroticism, episode 30. If you loved me, I'd come. I'm a dead or dead. I cannot for the life of me understand why in a relationship, sexual pleasure is considered second to emotional duty. That people seem to think, be lucky you're getting this at all, instead of working with their partners to develop their sexual exploits. When I hear about relationship troubles or surf the racks at a bookstore on relationships, it is all centered on better understanding one's emotional duty to their partner, and further, it implies a sacrificial obligation. I stress rejecting this, and instead pursuing bettering your relationship in order to acquire pleasure. This includes sex. The line of logic would be to start from the self, and in the realm of ethical sex or romance would amount to finding someone who can satisfy one's sexual, emotional, and intellectual inclinations. One's partner is the culmination of erotic desire and emotional rapport, the pinnacle of one's two sides. I hear men consistently loathe a poor blowjob or handjob, but rationalize it as, well, it's better than nothing. Fuck that. I'd rather play with my own nipples, bust out a dildo, and stroke my 2.25er very, very well than have a very, very bad fuck. The person performing these acts, if they care about you at all, should strive to give you the utmost sexual consideration. But of course, that goes the same for you too. If love is caring for another's well-being, it would follow that this is not only minimizing pain and harm to that loved one, but increasing their pleasure as well. This includes when you fuck them. Among the many answers I've gotten when I confront others with the question, well, what does love mean? Always among them, there is this notion to minimize or prevent harm to the other. Harm is somewhat subjective, being dependent on the rules of the relationship, which are derived from an individual's taste. But I find what is uncommon to hear of is increasing their partner's pleasure. And further still, if included, it is phrased as bettering the quality of life or making sure they're happy. If either of these is true and you fail to gratify them sexually, does that mean you never loved them? No. Only if you don't care to make an effort and honestly try. You know, because of that idea of you should be happy you're having sex. Once you dig into these statements noted above, they almost always deal with emotions or types of homemaking. For some reason, sexual satisfaction is left out of this, seen as a base and shallow thing to worry about. Let me tell you something. Anyone who has that point of view, that sex is the least important part of a relationship, I wish them nothing less than a lifelong string of adulterers that the fates themselves couldn't tear. So inevitably, one must ask, whose duty is it to ensure sexual happiness? Well, ideally, it is both. But let us be realistic and say it's whomever is unhappy. Now, I say both, because if two people care about each other's happiness and wish to better each other, it would include sexual fulfillment. But realistically, because one partner is usually itching or bitching for better than what the other partner is doing, it is the unhappy person's obligation to discuss what they like and what they want to explore. Though it would have been best to do so during dating and before commitment. But the other who, we assume, is content should make damn sure that their partner is having one fuck of a good time anyways, and ask about what that person likes. Failure on the content individual's part would in effect mean they don't care about their partner's happiness. Though, I find it comical that if you sit two people down separately, they're both pining for better fucking sex. And this usually amounts to them being sexually incompatible, idiotically embarrassed, or settling for what they're getting like some fucking goddamned retards. Now, what of that, though? What of comfortability? Asking around, and I suggest you do this as well, what is the sure sign of a good or healthy relationship? And they'll say most often, comfortability. So ask yourself, if unsatisfied sexually, do you tell your partner that you're sexually dissatisfied, that they're not doing a good enough job? Or do you go about whining incessantly and talking behind your husband or wives or boyfriend or girlfriend's back? If you do the latter, what are your reasons for not telling the person that you supposedly love? Afraid of hurting their feelings? Content in sexual displeasure or non-pleasure? Are you embarrassed about what you want? These questions are important. They'll tell you where your relationship stands and where your maturity is. In dealing with another's feelings, we must first consider the consequence or options other than hurting them. But most importantly and primarily the effect on ourselves, including our pleasure. If our lover isn't, refuses or is incapable of satisfying us, the relationship is invalid and, to put bluntly, ought to be ceased. This is your life, and that person may be your lover. But if you're not satisfied, then what the fuck is the point? Your desires are a good guide when it comes to romance. Denying what you want emotionally and sexually is betting against the house, and the house, ladies and gentlemen, always wins. A person who will not or is incapable of satisfying you is not automatically a bad person. They're just different. Different enough to leave you unsatisfied. And that is important. Again, you are not satisfied. Let that wander around in your head a bit. If you're not satisfied with what you currently have or are being offered, after that, you only have one more question to ask yourself before you pursue answers with anyone else or any action. Whose fault is it that you're not satisfied? Whose fault is it that you're bitching about your life? And what person do you have to blame? As always, fellow eroticists, keep your skirts up, your pants down, and no matter who bends over, love yourself the way you want to be loved.
Fuck yeah. That's good stuff, man.
I feel better now.
Job.
I feel better. I was angry before, but now I'm not.
I know people like this, though, that just are wildly unsatisfied in their sexual lives, but they're just with their partners, just like it's a normal thing. It's so far beyond my realm of understanding. I just don't get it. Why would you ever allow yourself to be in such a shitty position? And you're right, it's totally their fault. Like, they can bark at the moon as loud as they want, blaming, well, she won't do that or he won't do that, but you have a choice and you can find someone who will.
Right. When my friends come to me are like, oh, my boyfriend, he doesn't really like sucking dick. And I'm like, yeah? Did you talk to him about that? Well, no, not really, because he thinks he's bad at head and he's really sensitive. Okay. Did you go to a sex bookshop? Maybe look at porn together and then, maybe like, push him towards the oral sex books and go, hey baby, let's read this book in bed, because there's a few tricks in here that I want to learn. Mm-hmm. No, that'd be really uncomfortable. Well, fuck you then. Stop bitching. God, you don't deserve
a blowjob then.
Now, these days, I'm done wasting my time on people who won't take my fucking advice and just want an easy ear to bitch at. No. Fuck you, I have better shit to do than listen to you whine about a situation you put yourself in. It's not that hard. You lay back, you tell them, these things are what I like. If you're unwilling to do them, this relationship won't work. You can call me shallow, you can call me a dick, you can call me a bastard, but I am so sorry. If I'm going to fuck you for the next 40 years, it better be good.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be the best. I'm polite. Personally, I'm a great guy. It doesn't have to be the best sex I've ever had, but god damn it, it better be fucking good.
Yeah, I like to think there has to be effort. Like, if you're not putting in the effort, then there's no point at all. I love what you said early on, because it was any blowjobs, it's still a blowjob, no matter how bad it is. Well, fuck that. No. I don't believe in quickies because of that. I like to enjoy myself in bed. I don't like to, the kids are out of the house for half an hour. Let's hurry up and knock it out. No, fuck that. Let's wait until everyone goes to sleep, and then we have some actual time. And we can do everything that we really, really like rather than just trying to hurry up and knock one out. It just bothers me. I just don't fucking... Why people would make themselves miserable intentionally for the sake of just standing next to someone else is insanity.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you exactly why these sick fucks do shit like that. Adam, my dear Reverend.
Yes.
They're lonely. They're lonely and sad. Good. They deserve it.
Fuck them. Oh, they totally deserve it.
Absolutely. I love what you told me a while back, and it always stuck in my head, especially when I was rewriting this. When you were sitting at a bar and people were telling you about their married lives, guys who've been married 20 or 30 years, and you're like, oh my God, that's awful. And you had that conversation with your wife, like, no, this will not happen. I can't end up this way. Because that's great. And that's exactly what it should be like. Especially if you can't fuck other people. My God. No, wait a minute. That doesn't matter. Because I cannot be monogamous. I did it once and I won't do it again. And I still expect great sex from my partner. No. Just because I can go and fuck others doesn't mean I should come home to hamburgers. God damn it, I should come home to steak and potatoes. Get your ass in that kitchen, bitch.
I mean, you mentioned this too, and I think this is a really great point to focus on. It's that in this day and age, there's no hidden secret book. It's all available. There's instruction. If you don't know how to do something, look online. Go to a fucking bookstore or library. That information and techniques are out there. You don't have to be horrible at sex. You can be good at it. You may not be great, but you can be good.
That's right. Some people are born with a natural gift. Some people are better painters, better sculptors. Some people are better at fucking. But you can always, even if you're born with a blade, you're going to be born with a dull one. You have to sharpen it. To be perfectly honest, part of the reason why I'm so obsessed with sex is because I'm terribly sexually insecure, which is why I buy so many books on it. I need to know, like a little girl who needs to be told she's attractive all the time. I need to know that I'm good in bed. If I even get the hint that my partner or my trick is not having at least a good time, I swear to God, I turn into a wreck. It's like, no, I'm done having sex. I'm terrible. And then I'll spend like the next month being celibate and studying all my sex manuals. Like, I know I did something wrong.
Oh yeah, no, great episode, man. That's fun. I like that. Where can the good folks listening find a little bit more about you online?
Well, you can go to xtube / no. Though I'm pretty sure there's sex videos of me out there.
Really?
Oh God, I'm pretty sure of it.
Adenfucks.com.
Yeah. Oh, one day, Adam, one day. No, you can go to www.militanteroticism.com and pick up the book.
Yeah.
You can Facebook. There's Militant Eroticism on 9sense podcast. There's Militant Eroticism on Facebook for the book. And then there's, just me, Den on Facebook. And you may especially want to like the Den page, because if you think this is it, kiddos, you're flat out wrong. I have a few other things in the works that are terribly exciting. This church needs more dick, Adam, and I'm going to give it to him. I've heard my calling from the Dark Lord himself, and it was cock.
All right, well, I'm looking forward to it. I think that's going to be fantastic.
Glad to hear you're looking forward to cock, Adam.
Hey, if it's coming from you, I'll take it.
Well, my cock isn't going to be in there. Or maybe.
There'll be a shadow of it on the wall.
I'll have to talk to my editor. Let's see how much we can blow up that photo.
No, I said zoom in, damn it. No.
Zoom in.
Well, fantastic as always, man. Thank you very much. Let's tune into a little Satanism today and see what's in store for us there.
Ah, yes, Heather.
Ever wonder why genies are trapped in bottles? Because they're a bunch of goddamn drunks. And like all drunks, they'll talk to anyone who will listen until somebody puts a cork back in the bottle. So, want a little drunken genie nonsense? Then grab a bottle of whiskey and rub one out. Or tune into 9sense the first week of every month and catch my segment, I Dream of Jessie.
And welcome to another episode of Satanism Today here on the 9sense podcast. I am Magister David Harris. My guest this week made history with regards to this show. Her first appearance on the program a few years ago when I was still doing it. She was the first and to this day the only person I've ever booked as a guest on this show that was a non-member of the Church of Satan. Having her back on, since she has since become a member of the Church of Satan, has been elevated to the level of witch, and is a convenient guest because she lives here. I'd like to welcome to the show my wife, Witch Heather Height. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay.
I haven't seen you since way back in the kitchen.
Yeah, it's been an entire 10 minutes.
Like minutes, yeah.
An entire 10 minutes since we've last seen each other. So what's going on in that time?
What's going on in the last 10 minutes?
Yes. No.
Well.
No. Let's talk about what's happened with you from the last time you were officially a guest on this program, which was probably when we first started dating.
So many things have happened.
Shortly after, or at least shortly after we started dating.
I made history on your show by sucking the best dick.
Yes.
To convince a man to let me be a guest on his show.
Yes.
and a permanent member on Hate Speech Radio, too.
Yep.
Before I even had a dick in my mouth.
Yeah, exactly.
Not yours anyway.
Yeah, you really did weasel your way into that position.
Weaseled away. That's how I do. Every time I've ever been on Opie and Anthony was a weaseling situation.
There's always some angle.
Never been invited. That's never going to happen.
No.
There's never an invitation.
No.
No one on that show is ever going to say, you know who we should have on the show as a guest? Heather Height. She's fascinating. Of all the people with vaginas and tits that we know, love her. That'll never happen.
I suppose let's start with, the last time you were a guest on Satanism Today, you were not a member of the Church of Satan.
Nope.
And you are now.
I actually, as you know, I agonized over it for, years. Because, of course, I immediately, everything was yeah, of course, when I read it and we were talking about it, and I'd ask you questions, and you were like a dick to me, which was oh. Just such a bad, like as if I was one of those crazy people emailing you, asking you about, putting a curse on my boss or something. You'd be like, read the book. I'm like, you're my freaking boyfriend. We can't sit down and have a discussion. We can't talk.
I want to defend that position because you compare yourself to the crazies who email me saying that you are not like those people, and I can only rebuke that with, have you ever had a conversation with yourself?
Oh, really? I'm sorry. I have never claimed to be the son and father of Anton LaVey. That is not anything I've ever done.
You bring up a good point.
I do, don't I? Not schizophrenic. No. That is my best defense. Oh, yeah? Well, I'm not schizophrenic.
You never claimed to have been... You never claimed that I baptized you 20 years before I was born.
Never. I've never done
true.
that.
I've gotten that email.
No, only after your birth.
Yeah.
I've never, that's just impossible for you to have done it before you were even born.
Are you saying I can't do that shit?
Not before you're born. Now who's crazy?
You clearly underestimate me.
I'm sorry, I thought you were just like a person.
So you did agonize over joining.
I did, because I didn't want it to be like just joining because the guy I'm dating is a member. I wanted to make sure that it was... I've never joined anything. That's a very important element in this conversation, is I have explored a lot of philosophies and religions and belief systems, or whatever you want to call them, but I've never felt like... there's always a thing. I think if you're going to join something, unless you're indoctrinated as a child, you gotta really understand and believe every aspect of that. And maybe I'm a little bit of a nitpicker in that regard. But so I had to really have a deep understanding of it, rather than just be like, oh my God, I so resonate with this. Because you could say that about a lot of things. You could, oh my God, I so resonate with, whatever this is. I'm going to join it right now. And that's just not the kind of person that I am,
Yeah.
I will be all about a topic. I'll, go deep into exploration about a topic, but it does, I spent a week on, bipolar disorder. I didn't decide to join bipolar disorder,
Well, you can't really join bipolar. It's sort of a group that chooses you.
Yeah. Or narcissistic person. I love, that narcissistic personality disorder week was a fun one.
Well, you were just
learned a lot about you.
Well, there you were trying to just diagnose me.
Yeah. This sounds familiar.
It's not a disorder if it works.
That's true. It is. You can turn anything to your advantage.
Exactly. So what ultimately led you to this? Like, yeah, this is for me.
The big, I am absolutely going to join, and because as far as I was concerned, I was already a Satanist just by nature, but the thing that really made me want to join was an interview with Peter where he said, Satanists are not joiners. And I remember talking to you about it. I was like, I wish I had seen this before. It's an odd kind of thing, but it's my brain and my weirdness. But him saying Satanists are not joiners made me go, all right, I'm going to join this. I know that doesn't seem to make any sense. A bunch of people, I'm going to join a bunch of people who are not joiners. I should so join this. Say join one more time.
I dare you. I double dare you, motherfucker. So since that time, you have you've continued to pursue writing as opposed to stand-up comedy.
Yes. Well, I love stand-up comedy. I love being on stage. I love joke writing. I love the it's like an analysis of the human condition, and I love everything about that and about picking that apart and finding this little funny thing and relaying that to other people. I hate the politics. I'm instantly annoyed. And I even love, as individuals, other comics, but I hate being in a group of them where everybody is just on and these egos are clashing in this really disgusting kind of way. Where everybody's trying to be the loudest and most obnoxious person, but at the same time everybody has this fucking paper thin fucking frailty to them where you don't know what thing you're gonna say. We're all calling each other cunts and talking about how we wish each other's mother would get cancer, but you never know what thing that you're gonna say, that's just stupid, that's going to set somebody off that they'll never talk to you about, and you will never get booked, and, it's just stupid. And the whole sexism thing, I don't even consider myself any kind of, feminist, and I hate that, and I don't identify as a gender when I'm on stage. I'm not up there going, I'm a female comic, and I have jokes about it, because it's obligatory almost. Okay, let's get this out of the way. I have a vagina,
Yeah.
Let's do that. But that whole women aren't funny thing, it's just, I don't like having to contend with that. So I'd rather be writing and just present this thing. And no matter what you do, whatever you are, you don't have this experience because you are a white American man. It's coming, though, because I see these little things we could talk about that you guys are starting to become the downtrodden citizens of the world.
Yeah,
white American
we are.
men. But
I no longer feel ashamed to say, you know what, that's offensive to white men.
Oh, you should never,
Yeah.
because fuck everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to be some kind of being marginalized is the new black, And I didn't mean it that way.
Apparently it's also the old black.
But so even with my editor, there's a difference. I love Eric, but there's a difference between the way that you're talked to and the way I'm talked to, and he would like to think that he's this, progressive, and yet, like oppressive man at the same time. He's got a lot of dichotomies about him. But there's being female, like, plays into everything. But you can write and not ever express what you are, like, and just be writing about characters, or, you know, even if I write things that aren't ever published, it's a good way to explore this world where I'm just this observer, like almost like a godlike. I'm like Carlin and Bill and Ted, you know. I'm just the person making everything happen behind the scenes. So I enjoy writing, and it also makes better money than comedy.
You started working at Bloomingdale's.
Yes, I started working at Bloomingdale's, which is odd for me because it's a very corporate-y kind of, you know, oppressive environment, but I've absolutely fallen in love with the culture of the store. It's like working in the 1950s. You have to dress there's a long list of ways that you have to dress, and even how you keep your hair, and, you know, like, there's a part in the dress code where it says, you know, about makeup, and if you need help with makeup, one of the girls at the counters would be happy to teach you how to wear proper makeup, and, you know, how much perfume to wear, and it's...
So there's this total environment that's been created.
Yes, and it's this wonderful mixture of like, you have to be nice, because it's, you know, we're a very high end, we don't say no to customers kind of environment. Like I had a client yesterday who the only thing that fit her and the thing that she wanted is the only thing she wanted was on the mannequin. So my manager had to help me undress a mannequin to give her that outfit, because that is the one that she wanted, even though it was the only one in the store. And she said she was from Brazil. And she said, "We can make this happen. I know people. Money will flow. Tell your manager that I will get down into the ground." I think she meant on her knees, begging, "Please, I want this outfit. I will get down into the ground for the outfit."
So, I mean, this is a stark contrast from your previous retail job at the Expressions porn store.
It is in a way, because at Expressions, you know, we sold sex toys, and now I'm selling lingerie, though. So there's like, I'm not selling lingerie to strippers and cross-dressers and drag queens anymore, but there's still the sexual element, you know, there's still like the titillation there. We have a agent provocateur section, and they actually have like a little paddle there under glass, you know, and masks and leather, and, you know, along with their regular line. And so there's still like this, and it's odd. It's weird to see. So it's okay to have like these fetish things.
So it's Playboy as opposed to swank.
Yeah. and Agent Provocateur is my new fascination, by the way, because I learned that it was started by Malcolm McLaren's sex store in England. He and that British broad, the redhead, I forget her name. Like, it's Veronica or Valerie or whatever. But they were part of the whole punk thing. Clothing played such a huge part, and that store used to be like this really raunchy, and Agent Provocateur, the whole line was like this real raunchy, dirty, very punk rock, visceral kind of company, and it was bought out by another company, and now it's super high-end fetish. So it's fancy fetish stuff. and it's also I still because of the time that I worked during the day at the adult store at Expressions, I got a lot of clientele that was like older women who were actually like told by their doctors to go and get a dildo. Okay. Because of, like, I guess if you get older, the vaginal lining thins and you get dried out, and they were told to get a dildo to keep themselves open, to keep sex from being painful. It was almost like being a dildo pharmacist. there. And I get like the same age group of women looking for lingerie, and some of them have never worn lingerie before, and they want to do it to spice up their sex life with their husband. So it's sort of the same thing. I'm just not selling them stuff to insert inside of their vaginas. You know, I'm selling them stuff to get things to encourage insertion into their vaginas. Either way, I'm in a vagina. I'm working my way into their vaginas.
And let's see, on the Heidi Nights front, you have begun working the Paid or Pain shows. The
Paid or Pain shows. Those are comedy shows where the comedians now. I guess it's okay to say that they're getting paid anyway.
Yeah.
But the concept is that they have to go up on stage, they tell their jokes, they have their set. If they don't do well, the audience can vote paid or pain. And if they're vote paid, then everybody yay, and they walk off the stage. If they're voted pain, they have to have some kind of humiliation or pain inflicted on them by me as Heidi Nights. So I've put comics over my knee and spanked them and chastised them and did, like sissy training where I put a wig on them and lipstick and make them Vogue. And, I still haven't gotten a chance to do puppy play. Like we have to put the different things on cards, and they have to pick a card. And I'm dying to do puppy play. I'm dying to make a comic fetch something for me. And it's so different from working at Bloomingdale's, where I have to dress all in black and I have to have my hair a certain way and have certain makeup. And then I'm Heidi Nights on stage with a purple wig and a corset, and I'm spanking comics over my knee with a wooden spoon. It's like, and no, I just talked myself into a wall. Sorry.
We kind of covered a lot of the Heidi Nights stuff when we guest hosted 9sense.
Yeah.
How do you feel reconciling that alter ego with your regular life? There's a lot of crossover.
There is more crossover than I expected there to be, because even when we shoot fetish films, like every shoot and every show and every time I'm being a dom, there's like an element of almost like a shell cracking or some other boundary that I have that I'm getting over, or some other fear. It's very therapeutic. It's just as therapeutic as when I started doing comedy, because I couldn't even sing in front of people. Not that I'm a good singer, but singing, just singing around the house, in front of people before I started doing comedy. And then once you do comedy, you're doing the thing that people are more afraid of than death. You're going on stage and you're alone, and you're just with a microphone and you're talking to an audience that you can't see, And once you do that, there's nothing more to be afraid of. So what else am I going to do but confront public sexual things? I got over this fear, and being in comedy in that culture they're very judgmental.
Yeah.
And they're very because they're also insecure that if you vary from the path of comedy and you're not doing just comedy, there's this sense from other comics that you have failed or given up, rather than diversifying or exploring other avenues or just letting things happen. Like if something comes into my path, and then I'm going to try that. And I think of it as all connected. The writing and the comedy, even the doming, has become connected to comedy with the Paid for Pain. So when I first started Jim Mandrinos, when we were talking to him about doing the fetish films, he took me aside. He's like, don't ever tell a comic that you're doing this. Don't ever tell them you're doing porn. And I was like, it's too late. I tell everybody, because it's so much easier to just be, I'm not good at having a secret,
Yeah.
Like, because it seems like insincere. So I'd rather not everything that I do. I would rather do full on and just let everybody know. Then there's never any chance of anybody being like, "Aha! I discovered this thing about you," because I have already publicized this thing. So it takes their power away. So fuck them. Yes, comics. I also do porn. And you just wish that you could. Really, every, I say this, it's like my favorite thing. Like every female comic is one daddy issue away from the pole, So I'm just fulfilling my destiny. And I think that the existence of Paid for Pain and that I was asked to do it is just proof that I was right. Everything is connected and everything can help everything else. And, the fact that I can be comfortable sitting on a stool on a stage with a comic 3 feet away from me, nervously telling jokes and feel like totally comfortable up there is like an element that helps the whole gig, All
right. Well, where can people read your writing? Where can people hear about Heidi Nights?
People can hear about Heidi Nights at HeidiNights.com. That would be the best place to go.
Yeah.
We have our clips for sale site, which I don't... What is the clips for sale?
Clips, 4 sale.com/72313.
And also on Heidi Nights on Twitter. We're pretty prolific on Twitter. We have a Facebook. I'm not really too interactive on the Facebook.
Yeah.
But as far as writing, Heather Height writes for Penthouse Forum, and there's been a few issues. I believe you could get back issues online.
Yeah. Yes, you can.
So I've done some interviews and an article. You've also done some writing for Penthouse Forum.
I have.
And
this is about you, though.
Yes, I know. And come to the Paid for Pain shows. So far, I've been in Connecticut, right?
Yeah.
And we do them here in New York at the New York Comedy Club. I'm in a rotation with Lady Zombie, who also does the Paid for Pain. Paid or Pain. I keep on saying Paid for Pain.
No, you get paid for pain.
Yes.
They get paid or pain.
Paid or pain. And where else? What else am I doing? I'm doing comedy shows as well. Also with the same, I guess, outfit. But I'm doing it at the Greenwich Village Comedy Club December 5th, I hope, because now I'm having a schedule conflict with my job, my vanilla job, where I was scheduled for that date. So I'm going to have to get that fixed. But hopefully, go anyway.
Hopefully December 5th you'll be at Greenwich Village Comedy Club.
Go anyway. Because it's a good show, and it's all female show, which I just hate.
It's Evans Angels.
Just Evans Angels. I'm so gonna do like all male shows, and I'm gonna make a big deal about it. It's all male comics, live nude male, like just Heather Height's stable of male comics, and piss people off with like, "What are you doing? It's always all men." No, you don't understand. This is all male comics. Yes, they're all no, this is all men. All male comics. There is not one woman in this show. Because it doesn't fucking matter. It should just be a comedy show. The one Paid or Pain show that I did, there was one female comic, and the guy who manages the room comes in the back and asks the guy who books the show, he goes, "There's one female comic, where do you want her?" And it was like an actual discussion where he wants her placed in the show. What fucking difference does it make? She's a comic. Like it's just silly to me.
All right. Heather, hi. Thank you very much for being on the show. I know you had to travel very far to get here.
All the way from the bed.
Yeah. Whole 3 feet.
Yeah. Thank you, David Harris. Magister Harris. That makes you you get a little, turn you on a little bit when I call you by your title.
A little bit, yeah.
Magister. Thank you for having me as a guest, Maggie.
You're welcome, baby. And that's going to do it. Satanism Today this month. If you would like to learn more about the Church of Satan, its beliefs, its tenets, its philosophies, and its practices, you can log on to www.churchofsatan.com and read through the website. Or you can pick up a copy of Anton Szandor LaVey's The Satanic Bible. It's available $9-10 Avon paperback. It's a fantastic read. You might learn something. We will talk to you guys next month. This has been Satanism Today on the 9sense podcast. Until we speak again, hail Satan.
All right, people, and that is going to do it for yet another show. We truly hope you enjoyed it, and we would love to hear from you. Visit the website 9sensepodcast.com and send your correspondence to info@9sensepodcast.com. Let us know of any suggestions, corrections, critiques, or just general comments. You got any favorite sex positions? Let us know. We'd like to hear it. Sexual techniques to keep your partner interested? Hey, why not? Pass them along. What?
I said email them to me, not you.
Yeah, send them over to Aden Arden. He already told you how to get a hold of them. Any photos that you just must show other people of your various body parts, Aden wants to see those too. I actually may too. Either way, you can check in with us in social media, Satanet, Facebook, Google+, Twitter, and MySpace. Get updated on weekly topics, contests, live events, or just other Satanist random ideas or projects that we think are worthwhile. Download the show Mondays via the RSS feed found at 9sensepodcast.com, and we're also on Last.fm, Stitcher, YouTube, and iTunes. However you get us, hook us up with a rating or a comment. It does surprise me still, though. People are like, do you have a website? Like,
are they fucking stupid?
The podcast is literally titled 9sensepodcast.com. And you're asking if I have a fucking website?
Are these the very same people that put up with bad blowjobs for 15 years?
It has to be the same people. They just have to be. And I love it. I get a lot of... do you just offer just the different segments online? Go to the fucking website. Yes, it's there. It's right there. Everything you could want. Do you offer any t-shirts? Do you have t-shirts for sale? Yes, go to the website. Everything is there. You would be amazed if you just looked how easy it would be to find things. So put in a little effort and you'll get everything you've been asking for, people. Keep in mind that the only way we're going to continue doing this is if you continue to share it. We appreciate your interaction. Let's turn some other folks onto Militant Eroticism. Let's do that. And of course, if you'd like to learn more about Satanism or the Church of Satan, churchofsatan.com, yes, that's a website, is the first place to go. Okay, once again, thank you for joining me. As always, I'm your host, Adam Campbell, being joined by...
Aden Arden.
One badass motherfucker, man. I love you, man. You're doing great stuff. And until next week, people, hail Satan!
Hail Satan.